So, last week, as I said, was quite the controversial topic as we expected. I really enjoyed hearing all your reasons for agreeing and disagreeing with me about that specific topic. This week, though, we are going to go a little less controversial, but still a subject that is, ironically enough, very subjective. When discussing topics this week for something to talk about, we kind of went down a bit of a rabbit hole with the question of whether ECW was actually a success or not. It has led us to realizing that success in the wrestling industry can be measured in so many different ways. So what or when is something a success in wrestling? When is a promotion successful? Well, here are three of the best examples of companies during our discussions that we agreed are successes and why. Making it to number one. So one way to measure success is to see who is or was in the top spot. WWE is currently the top dog in the wrestling industry, and that can't be argued regardless of our personal feelings on the quality of their product. But they weren't always the top dog. For a time period, it is each person's opinion on whether we consider it a long or short period, World Championship Wrestling was number one in the ratings every week in a very hot wrestling and television market. It can be debated who penetrated pop culture more during the Monday Night Wars, but there's no debate that World Championship Wrestling was part of pop culture in a big, big way. From the Baywatch tie-ins, movies that may have better memories for some than others, and of course, the NWO. I remember seeing Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone, Jay Leno, and others all appearing on WCW, and people like Hogan, DDP, and Bischoff doing angles on talk shows like The Tonight Show on NBC, which was not a Turner network. They got so popular that WWF was actually on the verge of bankruptcy at one point and came very, very close until things changed, and then WCW was gone a few years later. We can debate until we are blue in the face about what caused the downfall of World Championship Wrestling. But there is no debate that the downfall started from the top. Now, longevity is another way that you can determine success. World Championship Wrestling existed for a total, wait for it, of 13 years. If you would recognize October 11th, 1988 as the official beginning of World Championship Wrestling as an organization. On the 19th of June, 2021, Impact Wrestling will be 19 years old. Has Impact or TNA ever hit the success financially or industry-wise as WCW did in their time? No. But are they a company that has their audience? Yes. Do they have owners who are behind them and happy with its current spot in the industry? Yes. Not only has Impact Wrestling outlasted the predictions that have been placed on them time and time and time again, they have also produced some of the best talent the industry has ever seen by giving them a spotlight. Would AJ Styles have ever hit the levels he has in WWE if not for his run in TNA? Would Samoa Joe have ever been on Raw or SmackDown, let alone win a main roster championship, if not showcasing his skills in TNA? It is true that at times, on screen and behind the scenes, the TNA or Impact Wrestling has been a mess. But here they are today, still standing. And let's not forget that without TNA, along with Gail Kim, Awesome Gong, Taryn Terrell, Tara, The Beautiful People, Mickie James, and many, many more showcasing women's wrestling in the Knockouts division, there would never have been a women's revolution. Maybe. But you all get my point. They have to be considered a success at this point for almost just that alone, not just their longevity. Now, one thing they didn't have, or don't have, is a connection so much with the crowd that people chant TNA at other shows. And that connection sometimes can make a company a success. Sometimes a company can never get to number 1 or even number 2, but in a way be a success for that ability to connect with their audience. And not just connect with them, but have that connection bleed over into the industry as a whole. ECW, in a lot of fans' eyes, is considered a success. The stories of bounce checks and illegal use of copyrighted music add to that aura of raging against the machine that made them huge, but in a business sense would have investors running for the hills. But to this day, we still hear those 3 letters chanted from time to time when something is so extreme, in the true sense of the word and not just the hardcore wrestling sense, from what they are used to seeing. They yell it out in unison. People that have never watched an ECW show will yell out those 3 letters. Think about that. In 2021, there are still those who chant ECW when it closed over 20 years ago, while only ever being a company for 9 years. People to this day are still making $1 of what ECW was and started. That has to make them a success, right? Well, we'd love to hear what you think about what makes wrestling a success. What makes a company a success in the wrestling industry? Give us a comment letting us know your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed hearing our thoughts on what we think makes a success or a company a success in wrestling, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a follow, whatever you can do, share it with your friends. It's much appreciated.